You've come to listen, haven't you? Gather round, my friends. Let me tell you a little story. A story about pain, about betrayal, about tears shed in the dark when no one was watching. You see, life has a funny way of tallying sins, of recording wrongs and all. Don't for a second think the universe forgets. No, every name that's ever caused your heart to ache, every shadow that has darkened your soul, every drop of agony you've cried, all of it has been seen, every moment has been accounted for. The universe, in its cold, indifferent way, keeps meticulous records of everything. But here's the truth. God has noted every tear you shed, every heartbreak that made you cry, every moment you thought you couldn't survive. And here's the dark beauty in that fact. It doesn't forget. It doesn't forgive, but it does remember. Some of you, standing here today, may have felt the weight of a world that never stopped spinning while you bled. A world that never paused for your pain. A world that seemed to move on while you remained frozen in time, trapped in the echo of your own sorrow. The people who left you, the promises that were broken, the love that turned to dust. It felt as though the world was indifferent to your suffering, and I know you felt lost. I know you've doubted if anyone would ever truly see you, but I'm here to tell you this. God saw you through every sleepless night, through every moment of silence where you wished for someone, anyone, to hold you, to make it stop. He saw you in the quietest corners of your mind, in the darkest stretches of your soul, where no one dared to look. God was there. He saw the pain that made you wish for oblivion. He saw the anguish that crushed your spirit, and He wrote it down. And don't mistake this for sympathy, my friends. This isn't about feeling sorry for you. This is about a record, a promise that every tear has been counted, every betrayal has been noted, every single time your heart was ripped apart. God was watching, and He wasn't indifferent. He was taking note. You've wondered why it had to happen to you? Why you, of all people, had to suffer so deeply? Why the weight of the world seemed to press down on your chest in a way no one could understand? You've asked, time and time again, why the ones you trusted turned on you? Why the ones you loved walked away without a second glance? You've wondered why the world felt like a place where nothing ever made sense, where every attempt to rebuild was met with failure, where every new beginning ended in the same agony. But let me tell you something. God doesn't waste pain. He doesn't waste suffering. Everything you've endured, every heartbreak, every disappointment, every night you spent asking yourself why, all of it has a purpose. The world doesn't understand that, but God does. Every tear you shed has weight. Every sob that tore through your chest in the solitude of your grief has been recorded in the book of your life. And God knows that weight. He knows the depth of your pain. He knows how many times you thought you couldn't breathe, how many times you were consumed by rage, by hopelessness, by despair. He saw the moments when you wanted to scream at the world for being so cruel, for being so unjust, for offering you nothing but suffering. But let me tell you something that might sting for a moment. God knew you could take it. He knew you could survive the storm. He knew you could stand up after every time you were knocked down. And He was there, in the shadows, in the silence, waiting for the day you would rise from the ashes of your grief. You may have felt abandoned, you may have felt lost, but you were never alone. God was always there, watching, waiting for the moment you would emerge from the wreckage. And here's the truth. You are stronger than you realize. Every scar you bear, every mark left by the cruelty of life is a testament to your survival. You may not see it now, but you've been through hell and back, and you are still standing. The tears you've shed, the heartbreaks that have shaped you, have made you who you are today. They have forged your spirit. And though it may not seem like it, God was shaping you with each moment of suffering. You see, the world will tell you that you're weak because of your pain, that your tears make you fragile, that your scars are signs of defeat. But God doesn't see it that way. He sees your scars as victories. He sees your tears as proof that you are still breathing, still fighting, still alive when everything in you wanted to die. God has seen the darkness you've crawled through. He's seen the times when you couldn't even find the strength to look in the mirror. He's seen every battle you fought in silence, and He has noted it. Every time you pulled yourself from the abyss, He took note. Every time you faced the world again, bruised, battered, broken, but still standing, He took note. Some of you have been walking around for years with the weight of your past on your shoulders, as though you were meant to carry it forever. And maybe you've believed that. Maybe you've told yourself that the pain was your cross to bear, that the suffering was just the way it was meant to be. But that's not the truth. The truth is that your pain is a weapon. It's not a curse. It's not a burden. It's your strength. Your suffering has built you. It has crafted your resilience, your power, your unbreakable will to survive. And God, in His infinite wisdom, has watched over every moment of it. Every time you doubted, every time you felt like giving up, God was there. He was waiting, knowing that you would rise, knowing that you would push through. And don't get it twisted, my friends. There's no magic solution here. There's no easy fix to the pain you've endured. But there is purpose, there is meaning, and it's time to embrace that. It's time to stop running from your pain, to stop hiding from the truth that you are stronger because of everything you've been through. You are stronger than the betrayals that scarred you, stronger than the losses that nearly broke you, stronger than the fears that have held you captive. God has seen it all. He has marked every tear, every cry, and He has chosen you to carry the weight of this world, not because you are weak, but because you are strong. So stand tall, my friends. Stand tall with the knowledge that every tear you've shed has been counted. Every moment of your suffering has been noticed, and God, in His divine grace, has used it all to shape you into something no one can break. Every heartache, every wound, every scar is a testament to your survival. And while the world may forget, while the world may move on and leave you in your pain, know this: God has not forgotten. He sees you. He sees the broken pieces of your soul, and He is waiting for you to rise again, to step into your power, to become the force that cannot be stopped. You've been through hell, but now you are ready for the world that's waiting for you. God's not done with you yet. No, He's just getting started. Every tear, every heartbreak has been a part of the plan. So don't you dare think for a second that you won't come out of this stronger, that you won't emerge from this darkness with a fire in your heart that can never be extinguished. Let me take you deeper, my friends, because the truth goes even further than that. We live in a world where so many of us, too many of us, carry the invisible scars that others never see. There are some things so deep within you that even the closest people in your life cannot comprehend the extent of it. They can't feel the weight of it. They can't hear the silent cries in the middle of the night when the world sleeps, when it all feels too much. They don't see how every little thing reminds you of the past, how every step forward is a battle between your strength and your brokenness. But God sees it all. Every part of you that you hide, every fragment of your soul that you believe is too damaged to be loved, too scarred to be whole, God sees it, and He understands. And He's been waiting for this moment, the moment when you stop running from your past, when you stop hiding from the pain. God's been waiting for the moment when you look in the mirror and finally see the warrior you've become, There are so many of us who have been hurt by those we loved, betrayed by those who were supposed to protect us. And that betrayal cuts deeper than any wound, doesn't it? When the people you trust turn their backs on you, when they leave you in your most vulnerable state, it's like the earth itself shifts beneath your feet and you feel like you're falling into an abyss. You've wondered if anyone would ever come to pull you out. You've asked why the ones you held so close walked away with no regard for the damage they left in their wake. But let me tell you something about betrayal. It reveals more about the betrayer than it does about you. When someone leaves you behind, it's a reflection of their weakness, their own inability to love, to be there when it matters the most. You were never the problem. You were the one who was willing to give, who was willing to love unconditionally. The ones who hurt you are the ones who couldn't recognize the treasure they had in their hands. So stop blaming yourself for their inability to see your worth. Stop punishing yourself for the mistakes they made. God saw every ounce of love you gave, every effort you put into trying to make it work. He saw your heart break as they walked away, and He recorded it. But remember this: betrayal, like all pain, is temporary. It's an ugly chapter, but not the end of the story. There is more to you than the heartbreak, more to you than the betrayal. And God knows that. He knew, even when you were in the depths of your despair, that you were capable of rising above it. He knew that one day you would realize that the pain they caused you wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to refine you, to make you stronger. Think about it, my friends. Do you remember the moments when you thought you couldn't go on? When you felt like the weight of the world was too much to bear? Do you remember how you felt in the darkest moments, when you thought there was no hope left? But here you are, you're still standing, you survived. And that's not by accident. That's not just because time passed. That's because God had a purpose for your survival. Every time you thought you couldn't handle it, every time you doubted yourself, God saw it. He saw your struggle. And He knew that you were stronger than you realized. He saw the fire in you, even when you couldn't see it yourself. Every tear that fell from your eyes was a testament to your resilience. Every night you spent questioning why you had to suffer, every time you cried out in desperation, was a step closer to the strength you were destined to find. And you are stronger now. You have scars, yes, but you are stronger. There's something else I want to remind you of. The people who hurt you, they don't get to define you. They don't get to shape who you are, and neither does the pain. Life can be brutal, yes. It can throw us into the darkest places, make us feel like we're not enough, like we'll never be whole again. But let me tell you this: your worth is not measured by the cruelty of others. Your worth is not tied to the love you never received, the validation you never got, the recognition you thought you deserved. Number, your worth is inherent. It's something deep within you that no one can take away. God saw it from the very beginning. You are not defined by your suffering. You are defined by the strength that comes from overcoming it. You are defined by your ability to rise, even when the odds are against you. You are defined by your resilience, your courage, your refusal to be broken by the forces that tried to tear you apart. God sees your strength, and He's seen every time you found a way to push forward, no matter how small the steps may have been. He's seen the effort you've made to keep going, even when it seemed like the world was crumbling around you. And He is proud of you. Some of you have been carrying the weight of guilt for too long. You've carried the shame of things that were never your fault. Maybe you've blamed yourself for the way others treated you, for the things that went wrong in your life. Maybe you've asked yourself if you could have done more, been more, fought harder to make things work. But let me remind you of something. You are not responsible for the actions of others. You cannot control how people treat you. You cannot control their cruelty, their apathy, their betrayal. But you can control how you respond. You can control how you rise from the ashes of their actions. God doesn't hold you responsible for the sins of others. He only asks that you hold yourself accountable for your own actions, for your own heart, for your own journey. And I know that's a heavy burden, but I also know that you are capable of carrying it, because you've already carried so much more. And when you finally release that guilt, when you finally let go of the weight of blaming yourself, you'll realize that you've been free this whole time. You were never meant to carry the burdens of others. And here's the truth. You are not weak because of the things you've endured. You are not broken because of your pain. You are not shattered because of the betrayals you've faced. You are stronger. You are unbreakable. The world will tell you that your pain makes you weak, that your scars make you less than. But I'm here to tell you, God sees your scars and He sees your strength, and He has made you unbreakable. Every time you were torn down, you were rebuilt stronger. Every time you fell, you rose again. And each time, you became more powerful, more resilient, more capable of taking on whatever the world throws at you. You may have been hurt, but you have never been defeated. God has not forgotten your pain, and He will never forget it. But the beauty of this is that He doesn't hold it against you. He doesn't use your suffering as a punishment. He uses it as a tool for your transformation. He uses it to shape you into someone who can stand tall in the face of adversity. He uses it to make you the person who, when life knocks you down, gets up again without hesitation. You are not defined by your pain, but by the way you rise from it. And every time you rise, God is with you, taking note of your strength, your courage, your refusal to be anything less than what you are meant to be. So keep moving forward, my friends. Keep going no matter how many times you've fallen. Keep moving, even when the world tries to convince you that you're broken beyond repair. Because God is waiting for you to see the warrior that you are. He's waiting for you to recognize that the pain you've endured has been the fire that has forged your unbreakable spirit. And when you finally see it, when you finally realize that you are not defined by your suffering, but by the strength that comes from surviving it, you will understand the purpose of everything you've been through. Every tear, every heartbreak, every moment of pain. God has noted it all, and He has used it to shape you into something extraordinary. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are a force to be reckoned with. You are unbreakable. So stand tall. Walk with the confidence of someone who knows their worth. Know that every tear you shed was a step toward the strength you carry now. And when the world tries to knock you down, when the darkness threatens to swallow you whole, remember, you are not alone. God has seen your every tear, and He is with you, waiting for the moment you rise from the ashes, stronger than ever. The best is yet to come, my friends. The universe has seen your suffering, but it will also see your triumph. And when you rise, you will rise with the power of everything you have overcome, because you are unbreakable, and God has always known this. Let me tell you something, my friends, that might be hard to hear, but it is the truth you must confront. The pain you have lived through has a purpose far beyond what you can see in the moment. There are too many who've suffered, who've been broken, who've been torn apart by the cruelty of the world, and yet in the midst of all that darkness, there's a purpose. I know it doesn't always seem that way. I know you've asked yourself, time and again, why it feels like the world is against you, why it feels like every step forward is met with more pain, more obstacles, more struggles. You've asked yourself, why me? And when will it end? But I need you to understand something right now. There is power in your suffering. It may not feel like it, but the very thing that has tried to destroy you is the thing that has been preparing you for something greater. You see, the world will try to break you. It will come for your soul, your heart, and your mind, and it will use everything it has: betrayal, loss, cruelty, rejection, to push you to your breaking point. But here's what the world doesn't realize, and what you, my friend, have yet to fully understand. The very forces that tried to break you are the ones that have forged you. The darkness you have walked through, the fire that you thought would burn you to the ground, is the very thing that has shaped you into someone who cannot be defeated. And God has seen every moment of it, every trial, every tribulation, every time you thought you were at your limit and beyond. He has seen it. He has known the depths of your soul better than you ever could. He knows what has been done to you. He knows the pain that has been inflicted on your spirit, your mind, and your body. But he also knows something that you may not have realized yet. He knows that you are stronger than all of it. He knows that you are still standing, and that, my friends, is no small thing. Do not mistake the silence for abandonment. Do not mistake the absence of immediate answers as evidence that God has forsaken you. No, he has not. He is watching. He is observing every part of your journey. He is recording it, yes, but not because he wants you to suffer more, not because he wants to remind you of your pain. Number, he is watching because he knows what lies within you. He knows what you are becoming, even when you cannot see it yourself. He knows the power that is being forged in the furnace of your struggle. He is taking note of every tear, every moment of despair, and he is proud of you. He is proud of your perseverance. He is proud of your resilience. You've been through hell. You've been to the darkest corners of this earth, where the pain was so sharp you thought it might tear you apart. You've known loss, betrayal, rejection, and hurt. And each time you thought it would destroy you, you found a way to survive. That, my friends, is not weakness. That is strength. God has seen your strength. He knows your pain. He knows your heart. And he is proud of what you've become in the process. You are no longer who you were. You are someone who has been tested by fire and has emerged stronger, more powerful, and more capable than you ever thought possible. And here's something else I want to remind you of. The world will try to make you feel like your pain is a weakness. It will try to make you feel like you are less than, like you are somehow inferior because you've been through things that have scarred you. It will tell you that your pain makes you weak, that your suffering is a sign of your inability to cope with the world. But let me tell you this, my friends, in the most forceful terms I can. Your pain is not your weakness. Your pain is your power. It is your badge of honor. Every scar, every tear, every sleepless night, every heartbreak, it is proof that you have survived. You are living proof that pain does not have the final say. The world wants you to believe that you are less because of your suffering, but God sees it differently. He sees you as a warrior, a survivor, someone who has faced the unimaginable and kept moving forward. And he is preparing you for something greater, something that will make all of this suffering worthwhile. You are not defined by your pain, but by the way you choose to overcome it. You are not broken by what has happened to you. You are remade, reshaped, stronger, more resilient, more capable of facing anything the world throws at you. Some of you have been carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. You've been made to feel guilty for things you couldn't control, for situations you couldn't change. Maybe someone you loved betrayed you, and you've wondered why it was you who had to suffer the consequences. Maybe you've carried the weight of someone else's mistakes, someone else's actions, thinking that somehow it was your fault. Let me be clear with you. You were never meant to carry someone else's burdens. You were never meant to carry their pain, their mistakes, their sins. You have your own journey to walk, and you will walk it with your own strength, your own power. You are not defined by the actions of others. You are not responsible for the wrongs they have done. You are only responsible for how you choose to rise, how you choose to move forward. The betrayal you faced wasn't your fault. The hurt that was inflicted upon you wasn't your fault. You are not responsible for the pain others caused you. You are only responsible for your own healing, your own growth, and your own strength. And in the end, that's what matters most. Do not carry the weight of others' wrongs any longer. Lay it down. Let go of the guilt, the shame, the anger. You are not meant to carry that burden. You are meant to rise above it. You are meant to take the lessons from it, the strength from it, and use it to create something better, something more powerful. God is waiting for you to let go of the things that have been holding you back. He is waiting for you to release the pain, to stop letting it define you, to stop letting it keep you in the dark. You are not the pain you've endured. You are the person who has survived it. You are the person who has fought through the darkness, fought through the fire, fought through every obstacle that has come your way. And now it's time for you to rise. It's time for you to step into the person you were always meant to be. God has been with you every step of the way. He has been there in your darkest moments, and He is here now, reminding you that you are not alone. He has taken note of every tear, every heartbreak, and He has been preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. And when you finally see it, when you finally realize the strength within you, you will understand that every moment of pain was worth it. You are not defined by your suffering. You are defined by the strength that comes from surviving it. You are a warrior, a survivor, someone who has been forged in the fires of pain, and nothing, not even the world itself, can take that away from you. So, my friends, rise. Rise from the ashes of your past. Rise from the pain that has tried to keep you down. Rise from the betrayal, the heartbreak, the suffering. Rise with the knowledge that you are unbreakable. You are stronger than you think. You are more powerful than you know. God has seen your journey. He has recorded every tear, every heartache, and now He is waiting for you to embrace your power, to embrace the strength that has been built in you through the fire of your trials. You are not the sum of your pain. You are the sum of your strength, your resilience, your ability to rise again and again. And nothing, my friends, nothing can take that away from you. In conclusion, remember this: the universe sees you, and God has recorded every tear. Your pain is not in vain. It is the foundation of your strength. Every trial you've endured has been noted, and you will rise from it. Keep moving forward, for the best is yet to come.